Hello, everyone. Welcome to Emerson College's Veteran and Military Affiliated Information Session. We're very happy to have you here with us. My name is Nick Washburn. I'm Associate Director of Transfer and Veteran Recruitment at Emerson. We have some great panelists with us tonight. We're going to go around, talk a little bit about how we're liaisons with veterans and military affiliated individuals at Emerson. And then we're going to turn it over to you for a Q&A and get your questions answered. So with that, as I mentioned, my name is Nick Washburn. I'm Associate Director of Transfer and Veteran Recruitment at Emerson. Christian, do you want to go next and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Nick. Hello, my name is Christian Sullivan. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a veteran and transfer student intern here at Emerson, as well as a current communication disorders major. So nice to meet everybody.
Oh, sorry. Good evening. I'm Chris Gray. I'm in the Office of Financial Aid. I'm a Senior Assistant Director of Financial Aid and the VA counselor. And I believe I'll pass along to Carol.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, my name is Carol Smolinski. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Financial Wellness, Education, and Communications at Emerson. And that leaves us Eric.
Thank you, Carol. My name is Eric Dusso. I use the he, they series pronouns. I am the Senior Director for Student Success and Retention at the college, and I'm very happy to be on the call with you all, especially this week being the Veterans Day week. So thank you for your service, and we're happy to have you here. And with that, I will turn it back over to our host.
Thanks, Eric. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your service, and I guess happy early Veterans Day, as we're just about there tomorrow. So I always like to show this off before we kind of jump in to the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the presentation. Is this very scientific, overhead shot of Boston, so you get an idea of where Emerson College is located. So I'm going to go through a couple pieces of the admission process, some kind of typical questions that we may get that can be helpful for you as you're going through the process. So there's really a couple of different types of applicants that students can apply as a new first-time student, whether that is domestic or international, and then also a transfer student. So I wanted to break down what the differences between those two populations for you, so you know exactly what type of student that you should be applying as. So you are a new first-time student. If you've enrolled full-time at another college, but officially withdrawn before the posted ad drop deadline of that institution. So that would mean you never completed any courses. And again, you withdrew prior to the posted ad drop deadline. If you went to another institution part-time and completed 8 or less credits, then you're considered a new first-time student. If you earn college credit prior to high school graduation, so an example of this would be if you were in a dual enrollment program, you would be considered a new first-time student. Now, on the other side of that, if you were enrolled full-time at another college after the posted ad drop deadline, then you are considered a transfer student, even if you didn't finish out that semester. So if you had, say, a medical leave or withdrawal, but it was after that ad drop deadline, you're considered a transfer student by our kind of policies and for our purposes. And then if you attended another college part-time after earning a high school diploma and you earned 9 or more credits, you're also considered to be a transfer student. So a lot of students will run into the situation where they're trying to determine what type of student they are. And typically the easiest way to break it down is if you've completed 9 or more college credits post high school graduation, you are going to be considered a transfer student. The other thing that I wanted to go through, and we're not going to in this information session, it's going to be more focused on what kind of support services exist for our veteran dependents and military affiliated individuals. But I did want to go through some of the deadlines, so that was at least in the back of your mind. So if you are applying as a new first-time student, there's a couple of deadlines to keep in mind, and I will explain the different types of applications as well. So you have early decision. Now, early decision, it's important to note this is a binding form of admission. So you don't want to apply to an institution if you're just kind of on the fence. You should only be applying early decision to an institution that you know 100% that you're going to. So this is a you're kind of signing on the dotted line. If you're applying early decision, it is a binding form of admission. The application deadline for this is November 1st. Students who are new first time can actually apply to our honors program, and you get an additional 2 weeks to submit the honors essay. You're going to get a decision around mid-December, and your decision deposit deadline is going to be March 1st. Now, early action has the same deadlines as early decision 1, but it's a little bit different. It's basically showing us that you have a lot of interest in Emerson, but it's not a binding form of admission. So it's kind of just getting a jump on the application process. So again, application deadline here is November 1st. Honors essay deadline November 15th, with a decision notification coming in mid-January, and May 1st being your deposit deadline. We do offer an early decision too. So again, this is a binding form of admission with an application deadline of January 3rd, a honors essay deadline of January 16th, with a decision notification coming in early February, and then your deposit deadline being March 1st. And then our regular decision application deadline is January 16th, with the honors essay being due February 1st, with a mid-March decision notification and deposit deadline of May 1st. Now, if you are a transfer student, it's a little bit different. For the fall semester, our priority and scholarship deadline is March 15th. One thing to note here, if you're interested in performing arts or comedic arts, you're going to want to make sure and complete your application by that March 15th priority deadline, as there are creative samples and artistic applications that are part of that process that the department needs to evaluate as well. I do want to note we do continue to review transfer students automatically for scholarships after March 15th. However, the pool starts to shrink a little bit. So we do, again, recommend you completing your application by that March 15th priority deadline. If you are interested in the spring semester, November 1st is our priority deadline, but we'll continue actually to review and release decisions up till December 1st. So if you are someone who's currently in the application process and you have a couple more materials to submit, you still have time to do so. Additionally, we practice rolling admissions. So after March 15th, we will still continue to review applications for every program excluding that transfers are eligible for, I should state, excluding performing arts and comedic arts. Deposit deadline for that typically is June 1st. And then for financial aid for the fall, April 5th is the deadline of when you're going to want to have your FAFSA and CSS profile submitted. And November 15th is that deadline for the spring. So just a couple of pieces of information that we want you to keep in mind. If you have some questions that you want to submit, we can definitely talk about those, but we are going to focus a little bit more in this session regarding those veteran support services. So what I want to do is go ahead and turn it over to Chris Gray.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, so we'll go over the chapters. So Emerson works with chapter 31, 35, and 33. So chapter 31 assists entitled Veterans with Service-Connected Disabilities. And then chapter 33 is the post 9/11 bill. So if you're in the service or on active duty after September 2001, you'd be eligible for this. And then chapter 35, that's a DEA program. So if you're a child or a spouse of a service member who has passed or been captured or missing, you could be eligible for those benefits. And then the Yellow Ribbon program goes hand in hand with chapter 33. So what happens is chapter 33 typically will have a yearly budget. So like this year it was 27,105. And so anything over that, then the Yellow Ribbon would pick up would pick up that additional cost.
I think just one thing that I will add in here, and we'll probably say it again later, but just as something to think about when you're thinking about using any benefits you may be eligible for, if you are planning to use BAH stipend, your living stipend, to pay for your room and board on campus, for example, you will want to start budgeting for that early on, because you may not get paid until October or February, depending on which semester you're looking at. It's usually about a month into a semester. The school does offer payment plans for room and board, so there's no need to pay everything up front. But there are also ways that you can communicate with Student Financial Services to request a delay in making payments, or to budget it out, so that you only have to do that in the month of September, and then everything else is covered for you for the rest of the year. And I work with folks on budgeting for that.
Great, thanks, Carol. And I just want one thing that I want to add that I think is it's important to note for Emerson, because it's different from institution to institution, is that when it comes to the Yellow Ribbon program, Emerson doesn't have a limit or a cap on it for the amount of funding or the number of students that can receive that. So some institutions you might see, as Chris was saying, there's kind of they'll cover up to 27,000. And then if they have Yellow Ribbon program, maybe another institution has 5,000 that they'll add. And then the VA matches that to go above what that, if it's above the 27,000. So Emerson, it's not capped. So basically, if you're eligible for the Yellow Ribbon program, that is going to cover your full tuition. And again, it is unlimited in the sense that there's not only 5 that are available or 10 that are available. So any of our veterans that can receive this and are eligible for the Yellow Ribbon program can be awarded that. So I just wanted to note that, because I think that's important to note as well. All right, so Eric, if you want to talk a little bit about Office of Student Success.
Absolutely, thank you, Nick. So again, we're in the Office of Student Success. And within that office, we have a few services that are available for our students. They're titled Access and Belonging is one area, along with Immersion, which is our first year experience program. Every new student that comes to Emerson College has the opportunity to participate in Immersion. And basically what this is a 1 credit bearing class that allows students to really learn the resources here to be successful at Emerson College. So it's kind of like the way to prepare you, for life in college, but also there's some elements to financial planning in there. There's elements for professional practice and career exploration, and also just kind of getting to know how you work and what your strengths are. And so just know that that particular program is housed within our office, along with leaves and returns. So we oversee the leave and return process for students. Typically, that is up to 2 years, that a student can go on leave and then return. However, for veterans, we do allow, especially for folks that become reactivated, we do allow up to 5 years to take a leave. So just kind of be aware of that. In addition to the services I just mentioned, the services on the slide here kind of speak to our commitment to our students that might be facing food insecurity. So we do offer a number of food access initiatives. The first being our meal donation program, where we actually ask students to participate by donating a guest meal, and then we can then turn those swipes from guest meals over to our students that are in need. Additionally, we have access to the food pantry, which is shelf-stable food items that are offered and open to all Emerson students, no questions asked. You can just come in and take what you want. The pantry also includes select toiletries, shampoos, feminine hygiene products, things like that. Again, just to kind of help out with cost. Sometimes that's a way to keep down the cost for our college students. They just come in and kind of grab what they need. So that way they can save their money for, materials they may need for class or to travel or, things like that. We do provide one-on-one sessions for students that just need to kind of figure out how to navigate whatever obstacle or issue. They might not be sure which office their specific problem goes to. And so we do offer one-on-one sessions. They're virtual, but you can also come in and speak to us one-on-one, in real life, if you prefer that as well. We do enjoy meeting our students and kind of help them not only, kind of figure out what the issue is, but also to empower them to figure out what those next steps are going to be for them. Although Emerson is a smaller college, there's a vast number of resources and pathways that students can take advantage of, and so we want to help guide you to take full advantage of the experience while you're here. And then we also offer opportunity through the Student Assistance Fund. So this is a fund that allows us to award micro grants to students that are specifically in need. So if there's a situation that comes up, an emergency that threatens your ability to continue to stay enrolled at Emerson, we want to know, and we want to see what we can do to help out. Now, this is in addition to whatever resources you're receiving as a veteran student. This doesn't count against that. It doesn't count against scholarships or anything like that. This is like a no questions asked. If you need this, if you need the money now, then we want to be able to give it to you now. So that being said, it's not really used for like rent or books or things like that. It really is based on emergency needs that might come up that you're not prepared for. Such as being in a car accident or something like that, and maybe there is a hardship that you're facing as a result of that. Those are the type of things that we want to hear about, so that we can be helpful with our students. And that is pretty much me. So I will turn it over.
Great, awesome. So I want to cover a couple of other offices and resources that we have on campus very quickly that were unfortunately unable to join us tonight. For those of you, especially if you're receiving benefits, you may not want to live on campus because of what you'll receive for the VHA fee. So off-campus student services works with students who are not placed in on-campus housing or want to live off-campus. And so they have a bunch of programs and resources to really make sure that when you're off-campus, you're hopefully receiving still a bit of that experience of being an Emersonian and getting that kind of campus life brought to you. So not only do they have resources to kind of assist you in finding apartments through apartment workshops, leasing and renting tips. They can help you find apartments based off of rent, based off number of roommates, travel time, neighborhood, a lot of things like that. There's actually a daily commute blog, so you can kind of share the experiences and get some tips from other commuter students. They have workshops and assistance with personal budgeting, information as far as health and safety in the city. And then there is a MBTA semester path program that is, if I remember correctly, I think 11% discounted for students. So our off-campus student services office has a lot of great resources for those of you looking to live off campus. And we can absolutely connect you with them for more specific questions that you may have. And we can also drop the email address and a link to their website directly in the chat as well for you. And the next that I'm going to briefly talk about is our Emerson Wellness Center. And the Emerson Wellness Center really works to support students in a lot of different aspects. So they offer counseling services, health services. They have opportunities when it comes to wellness and health promotion on campus, as well as community health and engagement. So just some of the resources that exist within our wellness center. It's one of the great things about that is it really has a nice kind of one-stop shop in a sense, where you can get a lot of this information. I would also encourage you to check out, if you want, the MWell Hub. You can go ahead and scan that QR code. There's a lot of great resources that exist there, articles, things like that, for for students, and then also, you know, non-students as well. Right now, as a prospective, potentially prospective student, you can take a look at some of these resources and what exists. And then if you become a student, there's direct links to connect you. And if you're interested in a counseling appointment, something like that, you can actually be connected right through MWell Hub as well. Other thing I want to mention, since we have your attention here, we do have our remaining open house. It's virtual for the fall semester. So that's going to be November 13th through the 16th. You can sign up for that right online. And we do encourage you, if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about Emerson from students, from faculty, it's a great opportunity to get that additional information. So we wanted to make sure you're aware of that. And then we're going to leave this up here as we're going through the Q&A function, but just ways to stay in touch with us. If you scan that QR code, it's going to take you to basically our list of all of us that can connect with you and our liaisons for veterans and military affiliated persons. It has the email address, so if you have any veteran specific questions, you can send them to veterans@emerson.edu, and then we'll send them off to the appropriate person. And then if you'd like to connect with Christian to learn about his experience through a Zoom meeting or just email, you can reach out to veteranintern@emerson.edu. He's very excited to get your emails and connect, I can tell you that. One of the things before we jump into questions I want to note is that Emerson is a little bit of a smaller institution, so we don't maybe have that one singular person that's going to work with you from being a prospective student all the way through graduation. But we have a lot of fantastic people that are resources for you and liaisons. And so feel free to reach out to veterans@emerson.edu, as I mentioned, and we'll make sure to connect you with the appropriate person to assist you. And if we can't answer it, we're going to find out what the answer is for you. So with that said, we want to jump into a couple of our pre-submitted questions, and then we'll get to the ones that have been submitted. Christian, do you want to speak to this one? It's if I decide to go into the military, can I do classes online? And how many hours would I have to do?
Yeah, sure. So first, I'd like to point out that Emerson has a limited amount of online offerings, so you couldn't necessarily be a full-time student here, but you can do online school through other institutions while you're in the military, and those credits could transfer into Emerson. I think one of the most important things to note for that question is that if you're considering joining the military and pursuing college, it's going to very heavily depend on what kind of a work environment you get, which is going to very heavily depend on what kind of a unit you go to or what kind of a branch you join in the first place. There were times, when I was in the service where people were holding down like 2-3 college courses for a semester, which is incredibly impressive while doing their full-time jobs. But then there were also times where I didn't have access to a computer for like half a year. So it would definitely be somewhat dependent on your circumstances. But yes, absolutely. You can attend college online while you're in the military. They actually have a tuition assistance program. It's a couple $1,000s, I believe $5,000 a semester year that you can put towards online school. But Emerson does not have a full online suite offering for undergraduate programs. So a lot of that would probably go towards, say, general ed courses at a state or a community college that, again, could be transferred into Emerson and go towards one of our degree programs.
Thank you, Christian. And just to add to that as well, if you do have questions about any courses that may or may not transfer into Emerson that you would be looking to take online, please reach out to us, reach out to me. And what we can do is work with the registrar's office to figure out what courses would be a good fit to focus on those liberal arts, general elective, or education courses, excuse me, to make sure that you're taking courses that are going to be appropriate for transferring to Emerson. I do also want to note that our registrar's office will take a look at your joint services transcript to see if there are any transferable credits that might be able to come through there. So the next question we have I'm going to address to Chris is about would I qualify for any VA benefits through the school even though I live out of state?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. Great question. Yeah, absolutely. You would qualify, whether you're in state, out of state.
Perfect. So this one maybe is a combination, and we've covered some of it for both Carol and for Chris. So I'm going to throw it to you, Carol, and then if Chris wants to jump in after the fact, it is, are there any financial options for veteran dependents? So dependents of veterans, what financial options might exist, and then resources from a kind of financial support.
Yeah. So outside of the benefits that you may be eligible to receive, and that would be the first thing you would want to check is any benefits eligibility. You can do that by emailing veterans@emerson.edu. You also want to have whoever in your family you are the dependent of check their benefits eligibility and how much they are able to transfer to you. Outside of that, so there is a link a little bit further up in the chat now from Student Success. They have a curated veterans and dependents of veterans page that does list some other financial resources, such as scholarships and support networks for dependents. We also have a private scholarships page on the Emerson website. We update it quarterly, so not as often as I would like to, but I'm getting there. And then we have another resource that I will put in the chat for all students, really, but you can also narrow it down. So as a search criteria, you could narrow it down if you wanted to search for scholarships, and that is on a full financial wellness platform called iGrad. So I'm just going to put that in the chat. Emerson.igrad.com. You can use their scholarship search site for additional funds that may be specific to being a dependent of a veteran.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carol. I'm going to jump back, Christian, to you. And this is a little bit of an open-ended kind of question. So you're going to be speaking, obviously, from your perspective. But basically, the question is, what does college life look like being a veteran?
Sure. Well, the short answer is identical to anybody else, if you'd like. So, one of the nice things about Emerson is it's a very inviting community, as well as a very small school. So it's easy to get to know people, even if you say show up as a non-traditional student a little bit later. Like I transferred here as a 23-year-old sophomore. And I seamlessly integrated into social groups and my classes, no problem. If you choose to be an off-campus student, as far as like your living situation, still totally fine. Still completely able to be involved with all the clubs and organizations we have here. I hold this job, for instance, and yeah, I could say so. Say being a veteran at this college is whatever you would like it to be. But for the most part, it's fairly comparable to just being any other student in the best way too. I mean, Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christian. So the next question that I want to go to is a question regarding the post 9/11 GI Bill's coverage and whether that's applied before or after scholarships. So Chris, if you want to speak to that. I apologize for the barking in the background.
Yeah, so absolutely. So it's scholarships would be so it would be we would do the VA benefits, and then we would minus out any scholarships that you had received, and then the VA would cover the difference.
Awesome. And Eric, to throw this to you, we have a question regarding transitional tools for students. So it's a little kind of vague, but as far as just general resources, it could be everything from within the classroom to outside of the classroom that might exist. I don't know if you can speak to this a little bit more.
Yeah, so in regards to transitional resources and, just kind of getting acclimated to the college community, every student will have an opportunity to go through the orientation experience, which kind of helps kind of set the groundwork. And then from there, resources are offered to, every student, so that way they're able to, further understand, where to grab things, like how to navigate the campus and things like that. I mentioned Immersion earlier as the 1 credit course that kind of allows students to kind of walk through each of our resources and to better understand that topic. And a peer mentor is attached to that course. So they can actually go over the resources more in depth. Orientation tends to be a lot of information at once in a short amount of time, whereas Immersion right now is a 7-week class that's offered for 1 credit. It's no extra cost to any student, and so they really learn more about that through the facilitators and through the peer mentors as well. And then the resources I mentioned earlier, the food access initiatives, the pantry, those type of things are available for students that are experiencing hardships. For example, if your transitional need, causes you to face food insecurity or causes you to face some kind of, financial emergency that perhaps scholarships and financial aid can't help, but the Student Assistance Fund can help, then we're able to work with students with that. And then the last touch point that I'll talk about is, if for whatever reason a student feels that they need to take a leave of absence, I know that there's a question in the chat or in the Q&A section, so I'm going to try to double up and answer that now. If there's like a health related reason why you need to take a leave of absence, for example, we're happy to work with any student that wants to take a leave for whatever reason. We will help to allow the student to better understand what that leave means, particularly if it's health related. We work with the Office of Student Care and Support most of the time with health leaves, and also with the Emerson Wellness Center. And basically, we want to make sure that every student, feels ready and able to be on campus, in regards to physical health, but also in regards to mental health. And so we work with you to make sure the support services that you need are in place for that. We also have other campus partners that we work with. I think 3 of them actually are great liaisons with us. One of them is the Writing and Academic Resource Center, which is a great resource for students just to be able to access to, work on writing or to study skills or time management, things of that nature that sometimes just need some fine tuning. We're able to work with students in that vein. Also, student accessibility services for students that need to think about what accommodations they might need in the classroom. And for some of our veteran students, sometimes those things don't manifest until after you've arrived, right? And so sometimes you don't necessarily know you need a certain accommodation until you've started taking the class, and then something begins to manifest and you're like, oh, okay, I think I need to have an accommodation. And so we want to be able to work with students on that transitional change as well, because that's not always something that is predetermined before you arrive. Sometimes it happens after you arrive, and so we want to give credence to that. And the last resource I want to mention is academic advising. We work very closely with academic advising just to make sure that the courses that you're taking really line up with your graduation plan. Christian mentioned earlier about taking a few classes at a community college to make sure they transfer in. Some students do elect to take a leave of absence from Emerson, and they decide to enroll at a community college sometimes to take 1, 2, or 3 classes and then transfer those back over. So we really encourage students to work closely with academic advising in order for that to happen. So I hope that answers most of those questions that you have. And if anything pops up, feel free to throw it in the Q&A section. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. That was very comprehensive. Christian, just from your perspective, and if you don't have insight, that's fine as well. I didn't know from the classroom perspective, are you aware of or have you utilized any kind of resources since you've been at Emerson?
So the Office of Student Success was actually one of the first places I stumbled into. I was a little bit disoriented prior to my orientation of my own fault. I had been traveling before that, so it's a very good place to just get squared away. Obviously, we went over like most of the resources that are offered there. But I actually kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you were speaking about, Eric. When it comes to resources for veterans or even just people in general coming to this school, as a student, like your peers truly are one of your best resources, and they will continue to prove to be. This is an incredibly empathetic environment, and it's a very inclusive environment. And I'm speaking genuinely to those words. You know what I mean? So a lot of times I found peace in just talking to the people around me, and that sense of belonging kind of establishes itself immediately. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, and it's a little warm and fuzzy, but it is true.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. So we're gonna, Chris, I'm gonna throw a couple at you, but I'm gonna kind of merge them together because there's a couple of questions related to the Yellow Ribbon program that people have. So I think we can kind of do this in one fell swoop. So the first question being, does the Yellow Ribbon program help dependents? So is it something that's able to be applied to dependents? And then with that, how is the Yellow Ribbon program awarded?
Yeah, so the Yellow Ribbon program, if you have it, it is offered to dependents. When the VA will give you give us a yearly budget that they all vote on, and once you go over that, like I was mentioning earlier, the 27105, once you hit that mark, then we would go in and use Yellow Ribbon to cover the rest. So essentially, tuition and fees is covered as long as you have the Yellow Ribbon and Chapter 33, and it does qualify for the dependents.
Great. And there was another question, and I just want to reiterate because you did kind of cover it there, but just to maybe be a little bit more specific, addressing it was elaborate on the coming to the $27,000 amount that you mentioned. And so that's something that's determined by the VA, not determined by us. And that's kind of what we're working with, is that allotment of the funding for private institutions that they give. And then the Yellow Ribbon program, if you're 100% eligible for Chapter 33, you're eligible for Yellow Ribbon, and then that would cover above that 27,000 mark that was determined by the VA. Sound right, Chris?
Yep, yeah, it's spot on. Yep.
Awesome, perfect. And then kind of to stay with you, you're going to be very popular tonight. Does Chapter 35 cover dependents of disabled veterans?
So Chapter 35, that I'm not too sure. I can certainly look into that for you if you want to whoever has that question, if they want to email veterans@emerson.edu, shoot me that message and I can reach out to the VA to try to get that answer for you.
Great. Let me see here. The next question that we have. I've been making everyone else do the heavy lifting, so I guess I can answer a couple questions myself. Is there some admissions related questions that we had? And that's do I need to submit my high school transcript? So regardless of if you are a new first time or transfer student, regardless of the number of credits that you may have earned, we are going to require that students applying to Emerson submit their final official high school transcript or equivalent. So if you have like the high set or GED, you'd send in the official score results from the testing agency. We actually have some students who come to us that have already completed a bachelor's, and so they're second degree bachelor candidates. And even for those students as well, we still do require that a final official high school transcript or equivalent is submitted. One of the other questions that I have about the admission process is what application should I submit? So we can look at this a couple of ways. First of all, you want to determine what type of student you are, as I mentioned earlier, if you're a new first-time or a transfer student. We do have a couple of options when it comes to the actual application that you're filling out, though. You can submit the common application, or we have an Emerson-specific application. There's no preference on which one you're submitting. We understand that students are applying to multiple institutions, and so sometimes that's a little bit easier for them to apply with a common application, again, because you're kind of getting all those applications taken care of with that one application. If you are applying with a common app, though, I do want to just note there is supplemental questions that Emerson does require. So a major specific essay and a creative essay as part of that process, just to be aware of. But again, we have no preference at all as far as which one you're submitting. And we can actually go ahead and put this in the chat function. But if you are a veteran or military affiliated, you can use the fee waiver code ECUG VET. I will go ahead and drop that in the chat function. I apologize actually for not having that up on screen. Awesome. Our person behind our Wizard of Oz behind the curtains already got to it before me. So those were some of the questions that I had as far as the admission side of things. And then one of the next ones that we have here, and I think Chris, probably for you, Carol, I don't know if you might know this one as well. The question is, do you happen to know if the monthly housing benefit is based on a 9-month school year or based on 12 months?
Chris, I
So
can take that if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
It's based on the number of months of eligibility that you have. So you can't be receiving the BAH if you're not in classes. So if you're in classes and you're receiving BAH just for 9 months out of the academic year, say, then you're going to receive your funding from 1 month in after the start, and then 1 month in after the start of the next semester. If you continue to take classes over the summer, you can be eligible for additional BAH. You just want to make sure that you don't run out of any eligibility if you're doing that. You want to kind of budget out your courses, your benefits, and all of your expenses to make sure that if you are taking summer classes as well to get year-round help with your rent, that you are actually going to complete your degree within the time frame and not be stuck with, say, like 4 credits left to take and no eligibility left towards the end. And you can work in tandem with Chris and with an academic advisor to make sure that that doesn't happen. They're very, very good at that.
Awesome.
So
Thank you so much, Carol.
We did get an answer on the Chapter 35 question about if dependents can use the benefits. I believe that was the question, right? They can.
Yep.
Yeah, Chapter 35. So that question, yes, they can use the benefits. The dependents can use the benefits.
Perfect. Great. All right. So we're getting close to the end of our allotted time, and we do want to be cognizant of that. So what I like to do, and people still can feel free to submit any questions that you have, but we've actually kind of caught up with all of those. So I'd like to go around, and I love to kind of do this as a wrapping up of the webinar, is to maybe give a piece of advice that you have for it can be specific to veterans and military affiliated people, or just in general, piece of advice that you would recommend regarding Emerson. So if we want to go ahead and Eric, we'll start with you.
Well, of course you'll start with me. I was like, what can I think of? Actually, I think I have 2 things I want to share. The first that I want to say, and this is perhaps because my office oversees access and belonging, but I want to make it very clear, you belong, right? And so I want to make sure that that is felt. If the Office of Admissions, accepts your application and you're here with us, then you belong here. And so my office wants to make sure that you feel that you belong here. And then if you're encountering obstacles, we want to help you navigate what those obstacles are because you belong here. And the second thing I want to bring up is stay curious. don't just accept things at face value, but really just kind of be curious about perhaps why things are unfolding the way they're unfolding, be curious about why people have the feelings they do, be curious about how your faculty members stumbled upon the professions that they're stumbling upon. Just stay open to being curious, as opposed to kind of, being closed off, from different perspectives and different ideas, especially those viewpoints that you might not agree with, as opposed to just, opposing the viewpoint. Be curious as to how maybe someone arrived at their viewpoint and develop a little bit of understanding, as much as one can, around that. So those are my two pieces of advice.
Along the lines of Eric's advice to stay curious about your resources and use them. Something that I see happen for a lot of students, not just veteran students, but transfer students, first-gen students who weren't entering college at the traditional time. A lot of the times they come into Emerson and say, wow, there's so many resources. None of those are for me, though. I shouldn't use them. Why? You're paying for them. Your benefits are paying for them. They're all here for you. And they are things that are here specifically to support you on your journey as a college student, regardless of how old you are or what your world and life experience is, regardless of whether you are used to an American university or, life on the other side of the world from where Boston is located. These things are here for you. So never feel silly about asking questions and finding your resources. They're a part of what you're paying for in your Emerson experience.
Very good advice, Carol. So thank you all for attending. Some of the information on my side is a little vague because every student's different depending on what chapter you are. Majority of the chapters we would need a certificate of eligibility. So that's kind of how you would start the process. You would email veterans@emerson.edu with your certificate of eligibility so that I can see exactly what you're eligible for, what chapter you're under, and then I can start working with you guys on that and kind of making a plan. So I would say the first advice would be to work with the VA to get that certificate of eligibility. If you're a dependent, you'll have your own portal from the VA. If you're not a dependent and you're the student that's coming, you'll have a portal from the VA. You can do a lot of it through that. If you have questions on kind of where to start, email me, veterans@emerson.edu. I can get you the phone number and the email addresses and kind of help you figure out what you need to do to get that set up. And then other things that we run into is the housing stipend that the VA gives out as a benefit. So usually the first payment doesn't come out till October, but the housing payment is due, I think, August 1st or roughly around that time. So again, as Carol had mentioned, creating a payment plan, paying a couple months out of pocket until that stipend comes, and then you can just basically pay yourself back. If you have no ways of fronting the money, let's call it, email me, we can work with you. Student accounts is pretty good with making accommodations. So yeah, I would just your best bet is to stay in contact with me, get me the certificate of eligibility, and that's probably the best advice I could give you guys.
Yeah, so not so much as advice, more a spiel followed by an offer. Just a little bit more about me. I got out of the military at an honorable discharge. I went to community college before transferring here. I have a disability rating that I got outside of the military, and I'm currently going to school here on Chapter 31 benefits. I got plenty of friends who had similar paths or paths that diverged off that very differently. In any case, right, sign up for my webinars if you would like to talk to somebody who knows about this stuff, or if you need any help with anything as far as applying to school, or and this is less on the Emerson side and more on a personal side. If you want to talk about VA things, I can give you bits of personal advice, not legal advice, just from my own experience, right? I'm going to put it in the chat. This is the our admissions portal towards the bottom right of the screen. Excuse me, not the admissions portal. That's on our website. This is the transfer intern one-on-one sign up page. If you go to that calendar and you select the veteran intern, not the transfer intern, the veteran intern, it's me. I'm the only one. You'll get one of my slots. I'd love to talk to you. I do this very altruistically. Honestly, if you just want to chat, you can sign up for a 20-minute one-on-one. I'm here, trust me. And yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. If it's available and it's on the calendar, please feel free to take a slot.
Thank you. And I will go ahead and just say Christian's very good at chatting. Anytime that we have to jump into like a little meeting or something, and I always have to preface it and be like, I have another meeting coming up. We have to be quick, and we still talk for 20 minutes. So if you need to chat, Christian's the person to connect with. So there's been a ton of great advice already. I think the only thing that I will say, and it's going to be slightly kind of redundant to what everyone said and what I said earlier, is that while we maybe don't have that one individual person, we have a lot of great, knowledgeable, and caring individuals in Emerson that will work with you, that will connect with you, and will seek out the answer again if they don't have it. And so throughout this process, if you have any questions, even if they seem like they're the smallest, questions in the world, don't make an assumption. You don't need to do that with the question. Reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We know how stressful this process can be. And if you don't know the answer to something, it's going to make it even more stressful. So please just know that you can reach out to us. You can connect with us. Email veterans@emerson.edu, and then your questions will get disseminated appropriately. Email veteranintern@emerson.edu to connect with Christian. Sign up for one of his Zoom one-on-ones. And then, follow us on the socials if you'd like to as well. But with that, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us. We really hope that you found this information to be helpful, to give you a little bit of insight into Emerson as well. And we very much look forward to working with you in the future. And on behalf of Emerson, happy Veterans Day tomorrow. Thank you so much.